Hello there. Praise the Lord. This is Vincent MBALANGU, pastor of Victory Church Massaja. Welcome to this broadcast. I mentioned the other day before we left off that God has gifted you and I with the power to imagine a better future. He's given you an independent will or a free will with which you can make choices that will lead you into this brighter future. He's given you a conscience that helps you to know if and when you're going off track, and He's given you the ability to be aware of yourself so you can be able to evaluate and see where you are in light of where He wants you to be. Now, hasn't God been so good to you and I? Hasn't He? Oh, yes, He has. Praise His great and glorious name. We are taking time, of course, to talk about having a vision and a sense of purpose in life. We so far have agreed that God has one single purpose for each one of us, and it is found in Matthew chapter 22, verse 37. Jesus was asked the question, what is the greatest commandment? What is man's number one responsibility here on earth? And Jesus said, the number one responsibility that you and I have here on earth is to love the Lord our God with all our hearts, with all our souls, with all our minds and strength, and to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. That is the greatest commandment, and therefore the greatest responsibility that you and I have. We can even dare say that is mine and your purpose here on earth. Yes, it is. To love and serve God, and to love and serve fellow man. We've also said that this, our God-given purpose, can be expressed in various ways. So, if this is your number one purpose in life and mine, how then are we going to fulfill that purpose? That is what informs what we call your vision and my vision. How are we going to play our part in God's purpose for us here on earth? Put in different words, vision simply is the how, as purpose simply is the what. Purpose is what is my reason for being here on earth. That is purpose. And vision is how do I fulfill my purpose here on earth. I believe this is clearer now, since we have already talked about it over and over again. Now, for you and I to be able to develop a vision that will help us to fulfill our purpose here on earth, we need to be able to see the world as God sees it. And the truth is, all of us have already developed some perception of the world and who we are in it. We already have a view of it, that is the world, and who or where we are in that world. We normally call that perception of the world our world view. In other words, how we see the world. It can also be called a paradigm. A paradigm is defined as a model, a theory, or a frame of reference. And I'm going to be using this word paradigm to describe the way we see life in general and the way that you see yourself. The other day I talked about this great endowment, self-awareness, the ability to be aware of yourself, the ability to be able to see yourself apart from everybody else. You and I need that for us to be able to even be talking or considering such things as paradigm. Because paradigms often develop subconsciously depending on your upbringing, your environment, or the society around you. Our worldview, the way that we see things, our perception, our frame of reference usually develops as a result of these things. Our surrounding, our upbringing, and the society or the people around us. These are the ones that are responsible for giving you that pair of glasses through which you see life. The way that I see people will depend on the kind of people that I've grown up around. For instance, how I deal with people, how I treat people will definitely depend on how I have seen the people around me treating people or dealing with people. If my family, for instance, the people that I've grown up with, have been respectful of elders, if they have been respectful of people, if they have been loving towards people, that's how I'm going to grow up. That's actually how I'm going to see the world. But if my family has not been respectful of elders, if my family has not been respectful of people, even though they may be strangers. If my family has not been loving towards other people, that's how I am going to grow up, and that's how I'm going to see the world. They are disrespectful, therefore they ought to be disrespected. They are unloving, therefore they ought not to be loved. That's how I'm going to see the world, and that's how I'm going to deal with the world. That's going to be my paradigm, my frame of reference. That's going to be my worldview, because the people that are around me are responsible for shaping and giving me this pair of glasses through which I see the world. And the color of the glasses that I put on my eyes will determine the color of the world that I see. This is very true. Literally true. The color of glasses that you wear will definitely be the color through which you see the world. If you're putting on black shades, everything around you is going to be black, because, hey, you're seeing everything around you through black shades. If you're putting on red or green or whatever color you choose, color of glasses, that's the color of the world you're going to see. And here is something else. Short-sighted or near-sighted people can only see what is immediately in front of them. And most of us are fairly short-sighted or near-sighted because we have very limited experiences that have shaped our view of reality or our view of the world. We only see as far as we can see, and as far as we can see, we only see near. But paradigms are different, and these differences can be noticed. For instance, a person who grew up in a remote village will have a different paradigm from one that has grown up in the city. A person who grew up without loving parents will most likely have a poor perception of themselves than someone who had loving and supportive parents. You only need to hang out with people who did not grow up with their parents. Then you will know some things did not go down well. When you compare them with people who grew up with loving and supportive parents, you can tell the difference. But remember me saying God has endowed us with this thing called free will, the power to choose. Well, listen to this, my friend. Your paradigm can change as you gain more facts and information. Yes, it can. Your frame of reference, your worldview, your outlook on life can change as you gain more facts and more information. For instance, if before I started talking about this, you had such a negative view of your life or on life in general, now that I've given you these facts and information to do with the power of imagination, the power to choose your actions, the ability to tell when you're going wrong or your conscience, and then the ability to be aware of yourself and be able to evaluate yourself to see where you are in light of where you want to be. Now that you have this information, you can change your paradigm. Oh, praise the Lord. Praise his great and glorious name. Your paradigm can change. Your view on your life and life in general can change now that you know that you have so been endowed by God, such that you cannot keep on saying, well, you know me and the way I see the world is because of how I was brought up. I'm not responsible for the way I feel because, hey, I'm not the one who hurt myself growing up. I was hurt by people. I was abandoned by people. I was used and abused by people. Because like I said the other day, how much longer are you going to keep on blaming where you were in life on who did or did not do whatever in the past? How much longer are you going to say, I am the way I am because of what so-and-so did to me when I was this age or when I was in this or the other place? You see, you can't keep on living like that. No, not when you have the power to choose a different destiny. I came across this the other day. Once in a while you run into something that catches your attention for the rest of your life. I ran into this and it caught my attention. Somebody wisely wrote and they said, never be a prisoner of your past. It was just a lesson, not a life sentence. Oh my. I'm going to say that again. Never be a prisoner of your past, because your past was just a lesson, not a life sentence. No, my friend, you were not sentenced to a life of misery because you went through some miserable experience in the past. No, that was in the past. You now have the power right here and right now to chart a different and better future. Oh, praise the Lord. So you can change your paradigm, your view on your life and on life in general. This change or shift in your way of thinking and the way that you see life is what we call a paradigm shift. Paradigm shift. It is a real shift, actually. When you think about it, for many of us, it is earth moving. I mean, shifting your paradigm, changing your view of the world, your view on your life, your view on life in general is going to require an actual shifting, a paradigm shift. This simply means seeing things in a new way, or what scientists call correcting your vision. Yeah, because it has to be corrected, because it's been wrong for a long time. You need new glasses. Praise the Lord. Praise His great and glorious name. And you may be wondering, Pastor Vincent, how do I really know what is the correct view of life? Or how do I really know what is the truth? Because in a world where there is so much information, so many different points of view, so many different opinions, that what I'm holding on to or what I'm embracing is the correct point of view or is the truth. How do I know? If that is you and that is what you're wondering about, I'd say, very good question. Very good. In fact, excellent question. You know why? Because it's a normal process for all human beings to strive to know the truth. It's normal for people to wonder, what's the truth? It's very normal. So far, so good. We all try to figure out what life is all about so that we know how to act and know what we should do. We also want to know who we are. Very much want to know. Everybody wants to know, who am I? Really, 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 who am I? We want to discover ourselves, to know our strengths and weaknesses, even our likes and dislikes. Who am I for real? Who am I for sure? Who am I? I mean, everybody else aside. I may know everybody else, but do I really know myself? What am I good at? What do I want? Where am I going in life? These are all genuine and justifiable questions. So if you're asking these kinds of questions, I'd say to you, good for you, my friend. You're on the right track. So where do we then get the paradigms about ourselves? We need to ask ourselves, where do we get these views? Because if we really are still asking ourselves, who am I? What am I? Where am I? Where am I going? If we are still asking those questions, we also must ask this one other question. Where do we get the paradigms about ourselves? If we don't know the answers to these questions, where then do we get this frame of reference that we have on ourselves, this view that we have on ourselves? How come we think the way we think about ourselves and yet we don't know so much about ourselves? See what I mean? If you're still wondering who you are, where you're going, and yet you have this view of yourself, you don't see yourself in a positive light, it's always a negative light, I have to ask the question, so who told you you were like this, and yet there is so much that you don't know about yourself? I'm reminded, way back in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, in fact, God comes one day to have fellowship with Adam and Eve, and He starts calling out, Adam, Adam, oh Adam, where are you? And Adam says, I'm here hiding. And God says to him, why are you hiding? Why on earth would you be hiding, Adam? And Adam says, because I heard you walking in the garden, I hid myself. You heard me walking in the garden, so you had to hide yourself. Why? And he says, because I am naked. And God says, what? Naked? Who told you you were naked? Who told you? So I am tempted to ask, who told you you were daft? Who told you you were ignorant? Who told you you were all this and the other that people keep on using against you in order to pull you down? Who told you? How can you be believing these things that they are saying about you and yet you don't know so much about yourself? Because you're still wondering, who am I? Where am I? What am I? Where am I going? I mean, you're still lacking this information, and yet you have chosen to believe what they said about you in order to bring you down. So I be like God. Who told you you were naked? I ask. There is this thing called the social mirror. And this is where most of us get our paradigms. This is where most of us get our view of ourselves, the social mirror. For most of us, our sense of self is based mainly on the social mirror. Basically, other people are the ones telling us how we should see ourselves. Other people are the ones determining what we should think we are. And that's already absurd. I mean, just talking about it is absurd. We base our paradigm of ourselves on our parents, our workmates, our classmates, and the things they say about us and how they react to us in the social mirror. These are the things that are informing and determining our view of ourselves. Again, very absurd that we use this as our basis. It's out of that you must understand that we develop ideas and images of ourselves. It's from other people, what they think about us, what they say about us. So we hold ideas like, I'm not attractive, I'm dull, I'm slow, I'm weak, because the people around me keep on saying that I'm weak, so I must be weak. I'm average. I mean, that's what everybody tells me. Even when I was still in school, they told me I was average. So through all my life, I've been average. And then again, we determine whether we are a success or a failure depending on the people around us. Doesn't that surprise you? I mean, you look around you, and depending on the people around you, you decide whether you're successful or a failure. It's society around you that is determining how you see yourself, as a success or as a failure. But you see, the information we pick up from our social mirror can limit us. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. If society around you keeps on telling you how you cannot, how you will not, and you believe them, what do you think is going to happen? So do you see, my friend, that there is need for you and I to have a paradigm shift? Do you see the need? In case you have questions on this, or you need prayer or counseling on this or any other thing, I would like to encourage you to call me. The number is 0702-869-102. That is 0702-869-102. Or write and send your email to victorychurchmassager@gmail.com. That is victorychurchmassager, and massager is @gmail.com. Or you could as well come over and have fellowship with us at Victory Church Massager, located along Busabala Road. We'll be happy to see you when you come. Until then, God's blessing. Bye-bye.